When you're ordering that, it's a single part number, but you're getting the piece of pipe plus the flow switch plus the test and drain plus the gauge. In AutoSPRINK recognizes those as individual elements. So we can't create a single part that contains all of these multiple parts. What we can do is create a detail after we've modeled this that contains all of these things. But we don't even necessarily need to create a detail out of it. So let me represent my screen and show you what I've done in the past, specifically for these Viking Easy Packs. Because I spent years using these things. I love these things until I realized that Globe made their UMCs, and then I switched over to the UMCs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So what I did in the past, so I started out, early in my career, I was using a lot of the VIC 747Ms, and then I ran into some major issues with flow switches on those old versions. So then I transitioned to Reliable briefly, and then kind of got into a comfortable position using these Vikings. So what I did is I created all the various sizes for these Viking Easy Pack riser manifold assemblies. But what I did, I went a step further. I added my check valves and my butterfly valves. And these are just generic, but all I did was verify that the takeout distance was the same as the riser manifold assembly that's specified in Viking's product data based on the different diameters. So I think they're all pretty close to 13 inches. I think the smaller diameters maybe grow a little bit. Yeah, 1'3". These are 15 inches in 1.5 inches and 1.25 inches, I think. But everything else is 13 inches. So I created these, and then I simply just drug them into my details pane. Now I could do this for individual sizes if I wanted to. If I wanted to create one specifically for, for this 6-inch riser assembly, I could select just this, drag it into the appropriate detail folder, and then I could quickly drag that 6-inch back out as needed for future projects. Now this is literally just a piece of pipe with my gauge pack, my flow switch, and my test and drain attached to it. This doesn't carry any sort of part information, model information, manufacturer information. This is just a generic piece of pipe. What I could do, however, is once I've got this dialed in, is I could Windows select this. I'm going to remove the couplings, and I'm not going to include this part of the drain pipe. But once I have this selected, now I could create a detail out of this group of elements, and then call this Viking Easy Pack riser manifold assembly, and this is going to be a 6-inch. Nope, not 5.5, 6. And then I could take it a step further, and in detail listing, I could type in the part number, whatever this is.
Oh, I see.
Hit OK. It's going to ask me, hey, do you want to make this in your parts tree, your detail tree? Sure. Now I don't want to see that black box, not a big deal. I can come in here and turn that off. But now, assembly details, I just created this. So I can drag this in to any project. It utilized the benchmark location. I should have repositioned my benchmark before I created that detail, which is why when I drug that in, it threw it off in space a bit. But now I've got this as a detail that it carries a description. So if I list this, I can connect it to piping and valves and stuff. When I generate a list, this description will populate in the stock list as well as the part number. So these type of riser manifolds are really easy to create details for. The Globe UMC is a little bit trickier because it has an integrated check valve. So I've done something similar here, but I wasn't able to necessarily create the components with an actual flow switch and an actual test and drain and an actual gauge pack setup. I had to use a piece of pipe and simulate the loss of a butterfly valve, the loss of a check valve, and the loss of a flow switch through this piece of pipe in this assembly. This is a little bit more difficult than something like this. This is super easy, but this is the approach I would take.